And welcome back. So, I am Abby Heckyard, and this is the ABCAST. So, I decided I'm more than a podcast and less than a, I don't know, rocket ship. So, why don't we call it by the name that it is, which is me casting my pearls before ducks or something. So, here we are. It is Thursday, the 17th of July. And so we have managed to navigate the Ides of July. And here we are in the home stretch coming into the weekend of the 19th and 20th of July, the 20th being Sunday, the day we're doing Fanaticon Ottawa 2025. And I have been with Lance Moran and his crew doing Fanaticon since it was just a tiny idea in the back of his brain, saying, if I ever had an event, wait a minute, why don't I have an event? And then he said, hey, Mom, want to do an event with me? And I said, absolutely. This year is so beautiful. It's just so special because not only do I have a dream team, not only is it going to be just a great, great weekend, but this is the 20th anniversary of my publishing business. I have a little boutique publishing company called Publisher. And I got into publishing and writing for people when there weren't any shows being produced. Good morning, Freddie. Good morning, Eddie. And so there were no shows being produced in Ottawa. And what else do you do? And I discovered this agency, signed up, started writing books for people. And then I realized that they didn't know what to do after that. Got the book in theory and principle. And I said, well, why don't let me help you with that. So what I'm going to do this weekend at Fanaticon is I always have crazy stuff going on at the booth. Are you famous? Did you want a feather boa? Let's take pictures with the paparazzi in front of the Lockers banner, in front of the Care Bears banner, just to make it a backstage kind of pass experience, get you inside the biz with me. And I said, you know what, to my photographers, here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn the whole day and my booth into a live photo shoot for a book. We're going to produce a book. It's going to be called We Are the Unforgettables. And everybody who comes to the con, everybody who comes to the booth, everybody who says, yeah, I'm in. And I'm saying, listen, the only thing I'm going to ask you to do is pre-order your book. So $20 instead of 50, which is what it's going to cost on Amazon later. Pre-order the book so I know how many. And then we work you through the process. We get your picture taken. Fun, crazy. It's not like a high school yearbook. This is the ultimate yearbook. And it's dedicated to Ryan Lithell, who it was a local Ottawa guy, suffered. Actually, he may have suffered, but it didn't look like it. He had all kinds of health issues. And eventually, this past year, he died. And I want to dedicate the book to him. Because bravery in the face of, are you kidding me? Which is kind of the conversation today. It should be something that people say, hell yeah. And so we're dedicating it to him. We're dedicating it to 20 years in publishing. And when we actually do the book launch in November, we're also going to celebrate the Prevert family, which if you never watched You Can't Do That on Television, was the name of the family that I, as the mom, belonged to, and Les Lai, as the dad, was the head of. Because this November, if he were still with us, it would be his 101st birthday. So we've got a birthday, we've got an anniversary, we've got people who show up because they can and they will and they want to. And I think that's unforgettable, right? So everybody who comes to the booth, we're going to ask them their definition of unforgettable. And like a yearbook, there's your picture, there's your quote, there's your name, right next to, I don't know, Christine McGlade, right next to a cosplayer, right next to me, all the way through the book. And then when we have the book launch, it's going to be a great big party. And I don't know how to figure it out, but I know that Billy does, because for people like Eddie and Freddie who may not be able to come, they're just going to send me their pictures, send me their quote. I will include them. And when we have the launch, we'll find a way to stream it so that they can join us from wherever they are around the world. And that way, it truly is an unforgettable celebration. It truly is an unforgettable family. It truly is what nostalgia gives back to us because we give back to it. What do you think of that? So all of that is starting, coming out of its little cave this Sunday. So Gary Tall and I have been running around like headless chickens. Gary Raish and Ellen Bond and Peter Weiser, who are going to be doing the photography, and Billy, who's going to be live streaming the clips. We're all just kind of saying, do we got this? Have we got that? Because we're gearing up. So if I'm a little a little fragile or I'm a little frazzled, that's the reason why. So that's the backstory. Also, I want to say thank you to all the people who are watching from all the different platforms. We're on Twitch now, we're on Instagram, we're of course on YouTube, we're now on LinkedIn as well, and of course, my Facebook family. So having said all of that, those of you who have not ever seen this before, and that opening little blurb made you go, whoa. I started in show business kind of by accident. And I just kept saying yes when people said, would you like to do the show? Would you like to do that show? I kept saying, yeah, is there money? Is it legal? Absolutely. Am I going to look fabulous? No. Am I going to have the best time ever? Absolutely. So these ABCASTs are part of the next chapter in my performing live, in my doing online stuff, in my being broadcast to my audiences. This is a complete what happens when we do this. It's not merely the pivot, it's the what if. And the what if is what I call pivotry in motion. You have to change your mind, change your attitude, change your purpose before you can change your path. So pivotry in motion and the conversations and the guests that we talk to and the training we provide is a way for us all to remember that we are a village. I'm a military brat. My village as a kid growing up was the world. I didn't know there was any other way to live. And all of a sudden, thanks to the internet, I'm right. So there we go. So what we have here, is an opportunity. And so the opportunity today, the theme today on this ABCAST is, if you hit a snag, how do you stay focused? And I know that for those of you who follow me often, God bless you, you know that I have created something called a later folder. And the later folder is a tool that I use to get rid of the extraneous bits and pieces that create a kind of a back burner stress. You know, you're brushing your teeth and you realize that you've put something else, like, I don't know, hand cream instead of toothpaste on your toothbrush. Okay, that's a delay. That's disgusting. So instead of carrying that frustration around with you, you write it down in the later folder. Toothpaste, 3 exclamation marks, draw a line under it, because that means you'll think about it later, but you're not going to carry it and have it infect the day. You're not going to have that moment take over, because you're the one walking here, not the face cream, not the hand cream. You are the one walking here. It's your bus. It's your later folder. So that's one of the things that I use all the time. So every time I'm getting ready to go to work or go out or something, at the end of that, go downstairs or go across the hall or go out the door. Okay, there's a line. We start now. We keep starting now. We keep giving ourselves permission to start with a clean page. No carryover. When are we going to look at those things? Later. So that's the thing I've been talking about for ages. Now, today, do I have a thing for you? Small sip. Cheers. Gives me a chance to settle. Eddie says, I gave Valerie Prevert fabulousness. Well, I gave her something. I'm not sure what, but thank you, Eddie. Later folder is perfect for those of us who take notes. So, yeah, because you think you're going to remember it. Sure you are. In the meantime, write it down just in case, right? Okay. So what do you do when you hit a snag? How do you maintain your focus? Now I'm going to give you a story first. And it's a story that I absolutely love because it's so simple and so utterly brilliant. And it has such a feel-good, oh my God. So here it is. Back kind of before my time, really in my parents', heyday, there was a British comedian named Terry Thomas. And if you've ever watched a film called Those Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines, Terry Thomas was the dastardly plotter and planner. He had a mustache, he had a gap between his teeth, and he was completely unprincipled. And he was a delight to watch. Before that movie in England, he was a huge hit as somebody who was just this brilliant comedian. And there have been a whole bunch of them. There was the Goon Show, which again, kind of right at the before me. And of course, Monty Python, and then Black Adder, and Mr. Bean. And all of those British comedians, Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, all those British comedians perfected an awareness for the rest of the world of the iconic British sense of humor. There's a television series that I used to watch called Yes Minister and then Yes Prime Minister. Hysterical, because it exposed all our human frailties and all the efforts that we make to try to pretend that we're perfect. Just utterly brilliant. So Terry Thomas was this icon back in his time. And then tragically, he developed Parkinson's disease. So a lot of his physical comedy was very difficult for him. And we're all very familiar with Michael J. Fox and what he's been going through. And we're so, in awe of the fact that he just keeps showing up. So one day I read an article, an interview with Terry Thomas that had been posted somewhere. And he was saying to the interviewer that good morning, Shannon. One of the challenges, one of the heartbreaks for him as his Parkinson's progressed was that he had difficulty navigating his way through doorways because his motor skills, the actual function of going through a doorway, and his inability to judge distances, his increasing inability to manage his condition, made it almost impossible for him to walk through just a doorway, to walk from the kitchen to the living room. And it was so upsetting, so disappointing. I mean, you can imagine, here's this vibrant, funny, clever, talented, strong, and now we're all thinking of Robin Williams, right? We think, oh my God, that was his superpower or part of it. But it turns out it wasn't. It was the presenting proof. His physical comedy, his wit, was the physical proof of his superpower. And his superpower was looking at situations and putting his own unique slant on them to own them. And what he said to the interviewer was mind-blowing and breathtakingly beautiful. He said, there was a day when he realized he couldn't navigate a doorway. Oh my God, the interviewer, what did you do? How did you go? And he said that it had been a struggle and it really felt like the ultimate defeat. And one day he was in the living room or the kitchen and he happened to have music playing on the radio. And it happened to be a favorite song of his. And without thinking, he had his cup of tea or he had his sandwich or whatever it was. And he had been a dancer in the vaudeville tradition at the very beginnings of his career, sort of like Christopher Walken, right? Is a dancer. And Terry Thomas was just dancing, not thinking about anything. And he danced through the doorway into the living room, and he sat down and he went, and he got up, song was still playing, and he danced his way over to the doorway, and he danced through, and he turned around, and he danced back, doing his own Terry Thomas shuffle. And he said, in that moment, I got my life back. He wasn't healed. He had ownership. He had the ability to navigate his condition. Ta-da! So the beauty, yes, while it was very sad, Freddie, his solution, how he overcame the snag without letting the snag run his life, drive his bus, own the rest of his days, was brilliant. And he didn't consciously, deliberately say, how do I fix this? He allowed his body to discover it and find it and navigate it. And this is part of the conversation today, because when something comes along that you didn't see coming, that you didn't expect, and you're on your way to do this, and it's exciting and you're looking forward to it, and all of a sudden this blocks it out, takes center stage, and you're completely overwhelmed and distracted and disoriented and flummoxed because you didn't see it coming and you weren't prepared. Now, on Tuesday, 2 days ago, we talked about how a plan can go off the rails. And I was saying there are always 3 parts to a plan. There's the people, there's the purpose, and there's the process. Of course, you can identify this snag that comes along as human, as intention, or as action. So when I thought about Terry Thomas and I thought about the snags that come along, because in my life, you know, maybe I'm going to publish the Book of Snags by Abby Hager. Because there are so many that fall into our paths. And Shannon, yes, you do need to try the music. You do need to try a later folder. And when I say try, I don't mean try. You do need to say to yourself, my family here on Abby's ABCASTs is showing me how they have navigated their anxiety, their preoccupation. It means that you're not the anxious one of us. We all are similar in that way. We all are looking for solutions. So whether you play music, whether you get a later folder, whether you just post-it notes, whatever it is that you do that empowers you, awesome. So the Terry Thomas story is the purpose, is the goal, is the passion. And yes, exactly, Freddie. The music played a part in his early life. It was his original purpose and passion. And without thinking, when it presented itself again, the universe said, here, try that. And he was just dancing along back before Parkinson's, because his brain, hearing the music, is back before Parkinson's. He's not focused on the fact that he can't do this or he can't do that, because that brain doesn't know that. That brain is all about the music and the dance. So this is one of the ways that we attack the situation. Now, I'm going to tell you, what was the other story? Oh, yes. So the other story, the other story. The other story is for people who say, that's easy for you. They don't know how many things I've tried. They don't know how many situations I've been in where I had to find a solution to the snag because the snag was about to create collateral damage. Yes, exactly, Shannon. Exactly. You're onto something. So if you're getting ready and you think, where did I leave my fill in the blank? Oh, it's in the living room. And now you're in a hurry and your whole focus is on the thing that's in the living room. So you're not paying attention because, of course, it's your living room. You know where you're going. And that would be when you stub your little toe on the side table. And you stub your little toe. And because that's what little toes are on your feet for, is to get hit by things. And the pain is remarkable. Whether or not you actually live in Cleveland, you can see Cleveland. That's how amazing the pain is. There is nothing in your head. There is nothing else you can think of in that moment because, wow, this is what we would call an A snag. That's a big one, right? Here's another one, all right? You're almost ready. You think, I got to get some caffeine in me. There's the coffee. I'm all ready. I'm heading for the door. I pick up the coffee mug. I take a sip and I spill it. And I don't really have the time to change. So what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? You know what? Stop saying that. Put the coffee down, change. Put something. Put a tie. Put a scarf. Do something. Wear the sweater backwards. Nobody will care. Do whatever it is to get that focus out of in here in front of you instead of the thing that is so exciting that you're doing today. Okay? So we have either the opportunity to say, stub toe, how do I fix that? Or coffee stain, how do I fix that? Those are your metaphors. I have a third one. And the third one is how I want to talk about the solution. So there was a time, and I've talked about this. I was on television doing a lovely glamorous show, interviewing people who were celebrities and in show business and creative and artistic and blah blah blah. And I was dressed up to look lovely. And then there was a strike, and the show was terminated, and I didn't have a job. And a friend of mine had a balloon decorating company, and they also did singing telegrams, and their couriers would dress up in costumes. Okay, so my friend said, "Well, you can work here anytime as long as you want till you can find something." So I did. And it's a humiliating, well, it's a humbling, it's not humiliating, it's a humbling experience to go from being glamorous and interviewing famous people to dressing like a chicken. Really? I'm just saying. It's a kind of a, oh, how the mighty have hit the wall sideways. So, but here's the thing about delivering balloons. They're inflated with helium. They're tied with ribbons. They're attached in a bundle called a balloon bouquet. Typically, there are 13 balloons in a bundle. Okay. So you can usually get 3 or 4 of these bundles in the car. You have to be careful, but you can get them in the car. And then you have your list of places you're going to go. Okay. So you've got your costume, you've got the address, you've got the balloons, you're in the car, you have your driver's license, you're off, right? At some point on the highway, inevitably, it is the balloon closest to your ear that casually says, bang! And avoid the dump truck and the ambulance. Where are we going? What's my name? All right, here we are. You get to the destination. And I'm going to tell you that inevitably, any particular day delivering balloons, if you had at least 4 in the car, 1 like bouquets, you were going to lose one. And typically it was right beside you. Okay, you get to your destination. You know what you don't have? You don't have 13 balloons. You have 12 balloons and a raisin. So what are you going to do? Because did you bring scissors to cut that ribbon off? No. Did you? Are your teeth sharp enough? Can you undo the balloon bouquet? No. Okay. So there is no hope for you. Now what? Because if you just put the little raisin in your hand so nobody can see it, that's fine. But then when you hand it to the person whose birthday it is and they say, what is that? You know, so much for the birthday surprise. Okay, that is the other birthday surprise, but it's not the one they wanted. And so the universe has a sense of humor. Freddie, yes, it does. And every so often I have had to pause what I'm doing and say, excuse me for a moment, and then look out into the universe and say, nobody finds it funny. Nobody. Knock it off. And then go back to what I was doing. So after, I don't know, the 43rd time it happened, because we are keen but slow, I said, you know what? So I went to one of those little dollar stores where they sell everything, right? And I bought 2 items. I bought a package of individually wrapped suckers, lollipops, and I bought a couple of sheets of gold stars, the kind that you put on a kid's paper when they get an A, or on your forehead. And I put them in my bag and I kept them with me. And if something had exploded in the car, rather than try to find the raisin, try to figure out what to do with the raisin, when I reached the destination and I got the balloon bouquet, and there's the little, so I would put it in the palm of my hand, or I would wrap it around a couple of the ribbons. And I would go to the event, and they would hide me in a closet and go and get the poor schmo whose birthday it is. And I would jump out and I would sing badly. And everybody would be all so excited. And I would say, and I have a special prize. I have a special gift, a special prize for the birthday boy girl person. And I'm going to hand you your bouquet. And right now, here among us, if you can find the magic raisin, you get a prize. And the prize would be either the sucker or the gold star. And I would put the gold star in the middle of their forehead, or I would hand them the sucker. And after a while, people would be saying, I think I found it. I think I see it. Oh, there it is. And so I always had extras, right, in my bag. And so what that did, you can see it, right? What that did was bring the ownership of the moment and the inconvenience completely in a shift. Yes, if I had the scissors, I could cut it off. But then what? Then I have a 12 balloon bouquet, which Abby shoved into a closet full of coats in the winter and boots that I stood in the dark with until they went and got him more than one time. So, because nobody thinks about that part of the exercise. So what I did by making it a surprise and a prize to discover where's Waldo, where's the flaw, find the puppy among the kittens, I made it interactive and crazy magical fun. Why? Because what we're trying to do, all of us, all the time, is get where we're going and feel good about it. We wake up in the morning excited. We wake up in the morning prepared or braced. We wake up in the morning ready. When we meet our challenge, when we meet our opportunity, when we master that, and we can look back from the other side and say, safe, or ta-da, we want to feel amazing. We want to say, got it, did it, spike the ball. How can we spike the ball if it's not our ball? How can we own the moment if it's not our race and it's not our number crossing the finish line? How can we say, I'm walking here, if we're sitting on the sidelines. We can't. So what this means in the way I'm thinking is, what do you do when a snag comes along? How do you maintain your focus? And now we're back to the conversation about the 3 parts of any plan. Remembering why we came, who we are, why we care, and what was our intention. Who we are is the people. What is our intention is the purpose. How we get there, how we reach it, how we say, hell yeah, is the process. And the more times we stare at the potential for a snag, this is not a conversation about worrying about the future, being anxious about the future. No. This is saying plan B, plan C, right? Plan B, plan C. What are we going to do if? What if? How else can I dance through a doorway? What is my other option that allows me to get to the other side? What is it that I do as my now what strategy? What is it that allows me to say, this is mine today? And Eddie, ad lib or improvising is a technique that requires years and years and years and years and years and years of practice and training. Ad lib is not easy to do well. It's not easy to accomplish what you want. Every person who knows how to improvise has learned that there is a process in improvising, that there are rules and there are structures in the way that it works. Nobody else in the room understands improv. Doesn't matter. There is a process. But just winging it and throwing it out there, you have an 80% chance of not succeeding. Waiting and saying, I'll just wing it. That's a dangerous path to take when you think about your theater past, because everybody who is in front of you bought a ticket. They invested their time, their money, their intention, their purpose, and their belief in you to show up. They didn't wing it. And therefore, the least we can do is give back to them the same degree of intention, purpose, preparation, and commitment. So when somebody says, yeah, I'm just going to ad lib, that's, while I understand your meaning, if somebody reads that and I say yes, they get the wrong message, because an ad lib is a complete random fling it at a wall and hope it sticks. And that means you're not in control. Flinging something and hoping it sticks, you're not in control at all. That's a desperate cry for help as you go over a cliff. Improvising is an art form. It's like saying, I'll just tap dance. I'll just tap dance my way through it. And you've never taken a tap dancing lesson, and you've never owned tap shoes. You are saying a thing you do not understand the complexity of. And then if you try to do it, it's clear to everyone that you didn't know what you were talking about. And now you don't look like you own it. You do not, in fact, own it. So this is why we have these great conversations. And this is for everybody else. This is why Eddie is fearless. He will put it out there and say, am I right? And I will say absolutely, or almost, or no, because nobody teaches us these things. I didn't get taught these things. I stumbled around and fell over and walked through windows and doors and got up and said, okay, let's not do that again. And all the years of practice and mistakes and getting up and trying again, the benefit in being part of this, in being part of Pivotry, and bless you all for watching these videos, is I'm the teacher. I'm the Sherpa. I'm the guide. And I'm not saying just say no. I'm saying here's how you say whatever it is you say. I'm actually giving you the technique. I'm giving you the tools. And they weren't easy to learn, and they weren't easy to invent. And therefore, when we have the opportunity to say, I want to show you something. When we see somebody trying something, not understanding how it works, I want to show you something. And then they show us, and you say, oh, well, that's why it doesn't work. Now, I'm having these long conversations with Gary, not Gary Ray, the photographer, Gary, my producer. He's only been working with me a short time, only a couple of years. And we are figuring out what our default autopilot conclusions are, assumptions are. And we want to figure them out now before we go and do a live show and discover them in the middle of something surrounded by people. So we are saying, what do you do when and what happens if? And then we're discussing what they mean. And Eddie's no, did you want me to go through a couple of high points in your life? Later. Not in the folder. Later. What is the definition of fearless? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, is that fearless? So thank you, Freddie. Thank you. It is my intention to be a great teacher of lessons never taught. It is my intention. It is my purpose to do that. And sometimes with humor, and sometimes with what on earth is wrong with you? What are you thinking? In order to get, let's cut to the chase. No. Yes. So in the option, I didn't just randomly say, oh, well, I have a lollipop. No, I said, I got to get them something. I don't want to spend any money. I'm only making $8 a delivery. And then I thought, it just popped into my head. Perfect. And so when I went to the dollar store and I'm walking around, ooh, gold stars, genius. And so and I thought, this is brilliant. Okay, now it's funny. Now the disaster is harmless because I have removed its weapons. I no longer feel like a schmo. I feel like somebody who has risen above schmodom, and I'm good to go. So what I'm saying to us is this. We can find a prop to override the broken prop. We are taking the raisin and making it part of a prize. The other thing, because we can't help ourselves, we have something ridiculously crazy happen to us. And it's complicated and it's exhausting and it's stressful. And we can't help ourselves. We tell everybody over and over and over again, keeping us anchored in the stress, right? How can we fix that? So this is simple win hack habit 2. The first one being lollipops and gold stars. Okay. If you have been watching me and getting to know me over the years, you know that instead of saying, how are you? And they say, fine, and you, that's not a conversation. It's a robotic thing. So I don't say that anymore. I look a person in the eye and I say, hey, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how's the day? And I bring them into the moment and they say, oh, I guess a 6, maybe a 7. Awesome. Wow, I met somebody who was a 4. And they laugh. What have I done? I have taken it out of vague language that actually has no meaning or value that we can understand. Because if I say fine and you say fine, I don't know what fine means to you. If I put on an outfit and I say, how do I look? And somebody says, fine. No, I'm going to take that off and I'm going to put on something. And when I walk out and say, how about this? And they say, wow, that's what I want. Otherwise, why am I leaving the house? Right? So if fine and you doesn't connect us, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how is the day? Now we're having a conversation, because the next time I see them, I'm saying, did you ever get above a 7? Actually, I did. It's really funny because conversation, connection, transformation. And so how about today? Well, you know what? It was a 4 about 15 minutes ago, but it's moving up. Thanks. So you have my happy permission to use this, because it's a riot. Instead of saying on a scale of 1 to 10, how's the day? You stub your toe. You spill your coffee. You go to work. You go to the party. You go wherever it is you were going. And somebody says, how's your day? And you say, well, on the stubbed little toe scale, it's a 6 or a 3. And they say, on the what? The stubbed toe scale. I stubbed my little toe trying to leave my house. My house didn't want me to leave. It made me stub my toe to stay longer. And the person says, oh my God, right? Oh, and the pain. Now you're connecting, engaging, transforming. And you have taken ownership of the stubbed toe to do it. On the spilled coffee on my new shirt scale, it's an 11. I don't see a coffee stain. That's because I'm wearing my new shirt backwards. You can only be disgusted by my clumsiness when I'm leaving, and it's too late. You won't see it until it's over. And people laugh, because we have all stubbed our toe. We have all spilled our coffee. And instead of walking around pretending that we're perfect and pretending, oh God, I hope nobody knows, I hope nobody sees that I have this imperfection. How's your day? Well, on a scale of colossal imperfections, it's a 9. Oh my God, what was your colossal imperfection? Oh, halfway through the day last week, I found myself apparently walking around all day with the back of my skirt in my pantyhose. What? Yes, it was a moment in time. I'm still twitching. What? What happened? Connection, engagement, transformation. Ta-da. Who owns that disaster? We own it. And we own it with, I'm walking here. We own it with, spike the ball, so there. And then splattered bleach on a new work jacket sleeve, rolled up my sleeve so the spot of, yeah. Go get a Post-it note, go get a sticky label and write spattered bleach, oops, and stick the thing on the sleeve. Wear it with pride. What's that? It's the spots. I spilled bleach. Cool. Why the sign? So that people didn't say, what's wrong with your jacket? Nothing wrong with the jacket. It's me. Driver error. Who's driving the bus? So because why hide something when it's an asset, when it's a conversation starter, when it's a connecting tool, when it's a way for our humanity to meet everybody else's humanity and say, oh my God, right? It is how we are connected, how we are navigating our way through life. And the more we are similar, the more we feel safe, the more we realize we have found our tribe. Are you ever going to get the bleach out? No. Get a, if you don't want to say spilled bleach, Just get a sticky thing. You're working in a retail place. Get a thing where it normally says $11.95 and write "oops" on it. Put it on the bleach. What's that? I spilled bleach. Oops. Oh, I like that. That's a good idea. I'm going to do that. Abby thanks you. Everything we are is an ingredient in the magic that we are. The blips, the failures, the assets, exactly, Freddie. We're taking our flaws and saying, that's mine. That's its good side, and that's its other good side. And then set it aside to get on with it, because it isn't the flaw that is driving the bus. It's us. And we have places to go and people to see and things to do to change the day. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, humans of all shapes and sizes, is my interpretation of dancing through the door. If you can't walk, if you can't crawl, if there's someplace you need to be, all you have to do is find the dance. And it'll set you free. So, with that said, the last 2.5 months have been chaotic, exciting, confusing, exhausting, brilliant, magical, roller coasterish. And this always happens when we are nearing the finish line. When you watch a horse race and the announcer says, and they're rounding the clubhouse turn and they're in the stretch. When you watch a baseball player hit the ball and try for a home run, and it's exciting and it's exciting and it's exciting and it's exciting. And when they cross third and they're heading for home, the only thing we're waiting to hear and waiting to feel and waiting to see is the home base umpire saying, safe. Right? And the reason it's teary for me is that's what it felt like coming back. After the race, after the race, after the race, coming back, finding this, creating this, decorating this, putting my chair in front of a camera with no idea how to use it. I know how to use a chair, the camera, and figuring it out and making mistakes every time. This is 376, and there was a small glitch that you didn't see, maybe you did. And so there's always a small glitch that is slightly different every time, which cracks me up because the universe is saying, we don't want you to get too cocky over there. So in bringing this to a close, in giving you the reminder that we are all, every single day, crossing third and heading for home. All of us, every day. None of us is perfect. How we stay focused is staying in the moment, because the moment is all there is. When this moment ends, you know what we got? We've got the moment. There's the next moment, only it's now this moment because that moment's gone. Can we remember it? Yes. Do we talk about it? Yes. Do we use it for stories? Yes. But which moment are you in? You're in this one. So how do we fix this one that aligns with who we are, why we came, and how we make it happen? People, purpose, process. It's a childlike thing to deliver balloons. It's a childlike wonder to deliver balloons dressed like a clown or a chicken or a gorilla and hand the balloons to a perfectly normal, fully grown adult who immediately, holding the balloons, is 5. Okay, then what's the reward? What's the sweet, quaint joke that elevates a mistake into something fun? A childlike prize, a lollipop, a gold star. When a person who has a sense of humor and a sense of rhythm and a sense of style and a sense of show spills bleach on his jacket, rather than roll it up so nobody sees it, right? Oops. Or ta-da. Why? Because it's who you are. Why hide who you are? You are fearless. You might as well be fearless. You might as well be walking here, and this is the way I walk. Exactly, Freddie. Taking our flaws and owning them because they're ours. And you have yours, and you have yours. The other day, I got on the elevator. There were a couple of people on it. Hello, hello. Came down another one. Door open. Somebody got on. Hello, 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 hello. Dropped down again. Door open. Nothing. So we all stood there. Door closed. And I said, maybe they're invisible. And everybody looked at me. Somebody had to push the button. And everybody laughed. So we get to the ground floor, door opened, and I said to the space, you first. And everybody laughed again, got off the elevator. I did that for me. I just did that for me randomly. I wasn't thinking. But by the time we all got off the elevator, I had made everybody on the elevator, including the invisible person, laugh twice. I couldn't actually hear the invisible, but everybody got off the elevator all kind of goofy laughing. And so everybody's day went from a 4 to a 9, just like that. And so what I did was I used a flaw. Somebody pushed the button and got on a different one or went away and forgot something, right? I used it in order to make it tangible, in order to now have something to talk about. Why? Because I want to own my ride on the elevator. I want to own what's going on. It's my bus. And every time I do that, I feel great. If they laughed, if they feel better, bonus. I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it. And they reap the collateral benefits. And this is how we can all navigate our lives, by remembering nobody's perfect. Every plan has the potential for, which is why we have a B or a C option, in order to continue the journey, in order to complete the plan, in order to get where we want to go. You don't just put all the faith in one thing. You can, but you're smart. You know that it's helpful to have options. So why not create them? What else were you doing while you waited for the coffee stain to dry? Wet, cold. What else were you doing? Life is not meant to be perfect. There are no straight lines in nature. Everything is a curve of some kind. Every curve has an ebb and a flow. All the molecules bunking into each other and collapsing all around each other and getting up and saying, whoa, don't do that again. This is the perfection of imperfection. And we get to own it if we choose. And that is the fundamental joy and deliciousness and abundance of Pivotry in motion. We get to own it if we choose. Always, never not. So, with that said, think good thoughts for me. Think good thoughts for the live book shoot on Sunday, July 20th, between 10 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Time, New York time, and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Our load-in time, Eddie, pay attention, theater. Our load-in time for a 10 a.m. opening is 6:30 in the morning. Dear God. What? Oh, well. So we're going to do a fabulous job and have a fabulous time. And we're going to make every moment unforgettable for all the people who put their trust in us, that they make the right choice when they join us. That's our goal. That's our passion. That's our purpose. That's our process. It's who we are all the time. And especially this Sunday, July 20th, between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. New York Standard Time. That's what we're doing. And I would wish you to send me good thoughts on making it amazing. And if you're in the Ottawa area, come. It's a sweet little fan convention. It's a one day. It's in a place called the Ottawa Conference Center. It's on a street called Coventry Road, and it's not a big convention center, and it is housed in a courtyard by Marriott. It's housed in a Marriott hotel. So Marriott Hotel, courtyard by Marriott, Fanatic Con, Coventry Road, July 20th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And if you can't figure it out, you can't Google it, you can message me and I will tell you how to get there. All right. It's a family event. Bring the kids. There are cosplayers. Your kid can dress up. You can dress up. Dress up. Come to the booth. Dress as Waldo. We'll try and find you for the picture. In any event, while I am gearing up for that and getting excited about that, about spreading the joy and the fabulousness, remember the drill. Be good to you. You deserve it. And remember to hug your loved ones because they deserve it too. All right? Is that a promise? Is that an intention? Awesome. So until next time, thank you for watching. Without you, it's a rehearsal. See you next time.